maybe this kind of love is unnatural or it is unfair. But if we look at it from another perspective, since he supposes that all the values of the family, all the values of the society have been corrupted, and he cannot do anything. Is not able to lead all the members of the family toward the, let's say, right path as he believes, and all the events move toward the righteous of man, and he thinks that he might be useful in this sense. Unfortunately, he cannot do anything. Unfortunately, he kills himself. But we see that systematically he is going to brush his teeth, wash the clothes, iron the clothes, arrange everything. So he likes discipline. These are, you see, the values of uh, this person or such people in the society. But when these values are not accessible and achievable, the only way for this person is to isolate himself from the society, some sort of alienation, or to run away from the society, and finally committing suicide. This is, you see, the way that he decided to do. Now, the appendix reveals after Mrs. Kempson died, Jason sold the family home and put Benji in a state asylum. This is the end of, you see, Benji's life. Some critics may say that he is on the date, you see, Easter and Good Friday, like Christ, very honest, very simple as the Savior. But we see that there are, you see, some resemblances. But the end, he is living in a state asylum. Now, let me read your ideas for some minutes, and then I will come back to the rest of the story. Okay. Wait for some minutes, please. Maximum 5. Okay, only see the things that mentioned by the students. I went through, you see your notes that shows the complexity, you see, of the novel, the critical reactions, and some told that this is not a very enjoyable, you see, novel. Uh, I think it is very enjoyable and interesting because this novel is revealing something about man's nature. So if we are interested in man's nature, okay, maybe even we read a very simple novel and all the events are clear, you see, enough to understand. This is, you see, one way, yes. But we know that life is very complicated and complex. It is not easy to understand. You see that people are behaving differently, uh, even in one society with the same culture, with the same ideology, with the same, you see, ideas. But is it possible, you see, to analyze man very friendly and very easily? If we read the interpretation of dreams by Sigmund Freud or by some other psychologists, like you see Color, like Lacan, uh, and the others, we see that man is very complicated to analyze. Here, Faulkner is going to tell us something about the complexity of life, about the complexity of mind. So he has applied this type of a style to present everything in this sense. So that's why by deciding on the characters, by applying some symbolism in the work, by narrating the story in such a way that it differs from, you see, the others, something stream of consciousness, you see, applying this technique in novel or in a poem is not, you see, very easy. So shows the strong skeleton of such a novel. So it by this, so we cannot say that uh, we know that the first aim of literature is to enjoy and then to understand. But if we read some ideas by Tezbadan Tedorov, what is literature, and Tolstoy, what is art, so we see the commitment and responsibility of an artist toward people around. All right. So uh, by this I mean we know that there are two types of literature: escape literature and interpretive literature, uh, with some philosophical ideas behind. Okay, but we are not going to read for our own excitement. As men, we are going to read and understand our word much better, since we are going to make our word much more interesting and enjoyable for all people. So, showing, you see, the decadence, showing man's psyche, showing life's complexity. These are, you see, very important points applied and mentioned in this novel. To the question that you told, that the question that is uh, can be, you see, musical or poetic, and one student said that couldn't find any answer to this question. I like to tell you that from many of the works written, for instance, Dante's Divine Comedy, We can find some musicians that they have made some, you see, notes on, for example, who are the characters? Pablo and Francesco. See the lover, the love between these two. The lover and the beloved. The lover and the beloved. Like Tchaikovsky made, you see, some notes and some musics out of this part. Or one of the British poets, Arnett, as far as I remember, Arnett. You see, made some poems out of this part by Dante's Divine Comedy. So this shows there are some similarities between some types of writing, like this novel that different parts are somehow fragmented because the modern life is somehow fragmented. Okay, the modern life. We have, you see, the isolation. We have, you see, gaps even among the members of one family, because when I say because there are some, you see, reasons. We can think about, you see, these reasons, and many people have talked of these reasons. This is the time of, I see, modernity and post-modernity. Machines, for instance, intervene in the life of many people. Here, machines talk. There is not, in many cases, lots of logic and reasons. Now, with the poetic, yes. If we start, for example, reading parts of the novel, since one of the definitions for poetry is this, that it is a musical. Okay. The way that, for instance, Benji is talking, very often because of this capacity, it seems that because he's the person of love, obviously the flowers, other of the, you see, the thing somehow, very simple thought, his naivety, regardless of these, you see, facts on Benji, we see that the way that he talks is part after, you see, a part, very similar to poetry. In poetry also, we see that the words are involved in the most frequency of the meaning. Like you see ambiguity, references to many, you see, events, and the meaning is compacted and capsulated. And we find such features in Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. All right, The Sound and the Fury. Because different parts, very short, uh, compact, all right? And if we separate different lines and arrange them like a poem, we see that even the shape of them, and I think it is very difficult for the readers to recognize whether it is a poem or a piece of prose. The language that applied in this poem. This shows that this novel can be very close to the word of poetry. Yes, with symbols, I ask you the shadow symbolism, there are sometimes the symbols are used intentionally. By this, I mean that an author intentionally uses symbols in his work. For example, knows symbol of water, knows symbol of flower, different types of flower, knows shadow, for instance, shadow symbol, and use them intentionally. But in one of the interviews, Faulkner says that I haven't thought of symbols in my novel. So they have been used unintentionally. But later on, okay, people can judge and talk about applying symbols in the novel. For example, with the shadow symbol, with Quentin, we see that, okay, shadow somehow symbolizes, you see, death. So death has surrounded him. Death is everywhere. Death is in front of him. Death is at the back of him. Death is moving alongside with him. But he is, the person is going to go toward his death at this hour or later, one night later, 1 week later. But we see that when he decides very clearly, he is moving toward, you see, his death. There are some other symbols in the novel as well, like you see flowers. Huh? We have also the symbol of flowers in this novel. Uh, Jasmine, as far as I remember, yes, jasmine is a flower in this novel. And there are something in you see the societies that they start eating man's soul, whether it is it popular in the society or in its universal, let's say, concept. And in, for instance, the Sound and the Fury, we see that this kind of decadence, this kind of spiritual decadence happens with the characters. Look at, see, Caddy, what kind of person she is going to bed with every man. And this shows uh, the pale value in this kind of living. Okay, being incestuous, like a war. But at the beginning, it is different. But later on, we see that this flower symbolizes uh, rotten flower, symbolizes this kind of, you see, lechery. The person who can be innocent, can be honest, can be purified, but later on we see what has happened to her. Now, a flower that can be loved honestly now is like an opium, is going to hurt men. And Quentin, who is very sensitive in this sense, is very honest, you see, in this sense, is very innocent in this sense, is not able to understand and accept sister's innocence. And very innocently, he drowns himself in water and commits suicide. They are people who are trying for their own perfection, for their own uh, improvement, development in life. But the question for them is whether life is perfect, whether life is complete. We see that uh, girls are able to promote in their life and one day become mother, and then they are very experienced, but they do not have the appearance of a baby. They are some are cudgel with experience in their life. And another thing is negligence or ignorance. Here, Quentin, for instance, doesn't like to see Caddy goes with lots of men, and here he lies. I don't know whether it's a lie is a good thing or a bad thing, since sometimes we say that we have white lie. So in some instances, it seems that it is good. I myself do not agree white lie or is a black lie. No, lie is lying. If we step once toward white lie, so the doors are open to go toward the other types of lies. But here we see Quentin, since he doesn't accept such a situation with the sister Caddy going with the others, so lies to his father. He accepts everything, says that it was, I lie with my sister. So there is a reason here for Quentin, because he is going to separate her sister from this terrible word. This terrible word is for those people who enjoy eating and drinking and let's say thinking of merely their genital organs. So that's why Quentin is going to escape from this word. What is the role and position of men to live with these, let's say, stubborns, to live with these uh, foolish people, to the follies of man? So that's why it's going to reveal something based on these, themes that how can man be a man or judge like a man that is moving toward his own decadence. This shows, the decadence, of man. Now I get back, to the symbols that I thought there are many, like from the flowers. I came, to this point. Only, water, as you also mentioned here. Some of the students water for cleaning and also water for death. Okay, now go to your notes. Yes, Ebtahaj, I'm going to activate your microphone. Yes. Now you can talk, ابتهاج.
Flow on her hips. This signifies her desire to be purified again. And she knows
Uh-huh.
that throughout
Uh-huh.
water, and she knows that throughout water she can purify herself because she has this desire inside to be pure again. But for Quentin, water is a symbol of womb, we can see, or a symbol of death. Is a symbol. Since Quentin has never been able to establish a meaningful relationship with his mother. It is a symbol of death. Commits suicide by drowning himself because it is the water that cleans Quentin of all responsibility of having to live with the knowledge of Caddy's sin. Quentin is a weak character, we can say, because he finds no meaning in life, and through him, Franklin aims in life is to show the severe means in the universe, right?
Good. Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
For Jensen, it is different. He is not like his brothers. He is different from the other children. For him, water doesn't signify anything because he is believes that he is right and he knows science. So there
Yes, Mortaza, please. Yes, Mortaza, please.
Please, Doctor. Doctor, please.
Mortaza. Yes, yes. Yes, yes.
One of the questions that you have mentioned in WhatsApp group, the last one, it was kind of novelty. I didn't find the suitable answer for it. Can you just announce about that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mortaza, please. If you have something, you ask me to talk. Mortaza and Amjad and Ammar.
May I jump in, Doctor?
Yes, actually, yes, sure.
Yes, thanks, and good afternoon to you and all colleagues. In fact, I don't have an input or comment about the novel, but I have a suggestion. If you allow me to share it with you, and maybe we can discuss it. It's about
Yes, sure.
how to deal with the novels that we are now reading and discussing. I think some of colleagues write to you that they face some hardness or some challenges in dealing with the novels. I believe that your style, your way is great, impressive, and I like it. And just maybe to have as much as benefits from the
Yes.
sessions that we have. My proposal is, or my suggestion is, if we deal with the novels in other way, if we take characters, for example, one by one, we discuss them in the novel. I mean, in particular, the main characters of the novel, we take them one by one. We discuss it maybe briefly, and then we move to themes, the main themes, and then symbols, and then maybe literary devices of the novel. So in this
Yes.
way, maybe we will cover all the elements, the key elements of the novel. So, and one of the reasons maybe I would like to raise this suggestion is, Sir, most of the students are government employees or they have commitments, so they don't have enough time
Yes.
to go through the
Yes.
whole novel. So we definitely, frankly speaking, relying on the net resources and getting some general
Yes.
information. So this is my suggestion. I will be grateful if you take in your account, if you think about it, and maybe starting from next novel, we deal with the novels, we take character by character, and then we move to themes and symbols and literary devices. And I don't mean it is only you will clarify. No, we will participate with you. We will have an interactive session. We also will
Okay.
share ideas, concept about the characters and themes and so on.
Okay.
So this is my
Yes, it
suggestion.
is. Yes, it is very good. Why not? But since I have thought you, as you see, MA students, and see critical reviews on these novels are available everywhere. See through notes or nets, some notes like the classical notes, Great Saver, and through you see nets. They're available everywhere. All right. What I meant by those questions is that to step one step forward or further, rather than restricting ourselves only to the ideas mentioned, see the others. This shows, by this I mean, showing what to be able even to analyze different works when they are suggested, not only refer to the ideas mentioned by the others and repeat those ideas. I want somehow to recover, you see, the genuity or creativity of the minds of the students as MA or PhD students. Since for MA and PhD students, I think this is not a good thing to be confined only to some ideas mentioned in nets. Okay, There are lots of ideas over there, and they exist. What is the use of copying those ideas and then repeating them in class? That's why I have thought of some questions to be or to become, analytical, to be able to think about, the events. I know that there are lots of problems, with the students. They are busy somehow working, here and there, and maybe it is difficult to go through the novels line by line or word by word. It is difficult. But I advise you read the novels, well, if you are going to increase, the knowledge and develop your knowledge in this sense. Anyhow, okay, it is also one way to go, through the novel, chapter by chapter, character by character, theme by theme. And yes, it is also possible.
Thanks, sir.
For,
Much appreciated.
for this class, I will, do it. Okay. Thank you very much, dear friends. I wish you a very good time. Enjoy your time and goodbye.